What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another review for Monday Night Raw. This one is from March 18th, 1996. To start off the show, we see footage of a house show / live event, whatever you want to call it, from Madison Square Garden, where Diesel is hitting people with chairs, nails Undertaker and Bret Hart with him, but then he also takes out his buddy Shawn with the chair. So now, I think it's clear to say they want Diesel to be a full-on heel. He's in a match tonight, so we will see what happens with him and how they continue to go with him. But like I've been saying, they've kind of just been teeter-tottering the face and heel divide with him. So now they have him hit his buddy Shawn with the chair, so you can officially say he's a bad guy. The first match of the show, we have British Bulldog versus Jake Roberts. Jake goes for the DDT early, but Bulldog rolls out. You can tell that Jake isn't at the same state he was in back in the day, but the crowd still love him and cheer for him and the DDT. As fickle as wrestling fans are, we love our legends and forgive them even with their faults. Jim Cornette continues to interfere in this match. Jake does hit the DDT out of nowhere, but Cornette pulls him while he was going for the pin. So Jake goes and pulls out his snake and goes after Cornette, but Roberts gets counted out and takes the L. I think it's going to be a six-man tag with these two sides at WrestleMania. I don't know if they've announced it yet, but that looks like where they are going. Next, we have some more of Shawn and Bret training for their Iron Man match. Shawn talks more about his boyhood dream, and Bret talks about how this feels different than previous opponents. He respects Shawn for his in-ring ability, but he doesn't like all the showboating. So in those regards, what I am getting from hearing Bret is that he would like someone like his son to have him as a role model as opposed to somebody like Shawn. Okay, so there we are building a little bit of animosity, at least on Bret's side. I guess you could say this makes it a little bit more interesting than both of them just having respect for each other. You have Shawn, even with his showboating and all that stuff. This has been his dream since being a child. I don't know why they didn't make this a big deal last year when he was going for the title. But then you have on the other side Bret trying to crush that boyhood dream because he doesn't like the showboating and he wants the sport to continue to be in his image. And he's going to do all he can to make sure that Shawn's dream doesn't come true because he does not want him to be the role model in the WWF. So next up, we have Goldust in a kilt coming out to take on Fatu. Marlena distracts the ref, and Fatu nails Goldie in the nuts. Roddy Piper calls into commentary about his parking lot brawl with Goldust in LA for WrestleMania. Goldust wins the reverse DDT. I forgot what he calls that move. Last call or final curtain or something like that. I can't remember. And they don't say it on commentary. Goldust and Marlena tease making out, but they just go to the back. I like how they added Marlena to this gimmick. So this really makes it unknown if he is gay or if he's really just trying to play mind games, since he has a good-looking woman with him. And I'm guessing all the Mark fans know that this is actually his wife. But a lot of the casual fans and most of the fans, because there's no internet at the time, they probably just think this is just some hot lady with him. Then we see footage of Jake Roberts from a different show where he challenges Camp Cornette to the six-man tag match at WrestleMania. Jim Cornette comes out to the ring on Raw and accepts the challenge. Owen Hart says that they all suck and that he was the reason Yokozuna and him won the tag titles and that Ahmed Johnson doesn't have a brain cell. And speaking of, British Bulldog also tries to cut a promo. Rest in peace to British Bulldog, but you know what I mean if you've ever heard him cut a promo. Jim puts over Vader as being a better version of Yokozuna, and it will now be Vader time! Part of the stipulation will be that if the good guy team wins, Yokozuna gets Cornette for 5 minutes in the ring. Who knows if that will be at WrestleMania, but pretty much Vader is probably going to get his win, being as he just debuted, so they're probably going to want to put him over. So that's not going to happen. Next up, we get Diesel versus Barry Horrowitz. They continue to stack the deck against Barry by giving him a guy who's losing his mind. Diesel just took a chair and hit his best friend in the back with it. Why are they making Barry go up against this maniac? It would be like telling Mike Tyson to go fight a crackhead. Sure, on paper, Tyson is the favorite. In all honesty, the crackhead has nothing to lose, so he's going to go out there and try his best. Mike Tyson is just going to try to fight for his life. So, same here. We're just comparing Barry Horowitz and Diesel to Mike Tyson and the crackhead, respectively. But getting to this match, Paul Bearer comes to ringside, rolling out a casket. Barry takes advantage and hits Diesel with some shots that will take anyone else under 7 foot tall out, but Diesel hits a big boot and then a knockout punch for the win. Pretty sure his glove was loaded with weight, but that's besides the point. Barry just can't catch a break. Diesel then goes to open the casket, and he uncovers the plastic that was covering who was in there, and it's Diesel. Holy shit, imagine seeing a lifelike version of yourself in a casket. That's actually pretty cool how they were able to pull that off. It was super realistic. Might have been like one of those wax statues that you see in museums. This puts fear into Diesel even if he wants to pretend he isn't scared. The thing I appreciate from this is that Diesel was willing to play ball instead of being too cool and no selling all this stuff. Props to him for actually doing this storyline and going along with it. Next up, we have Bret Hart versus Tatanka. It's been so long that we've had a Tatanka match, and I remember that he's part of my skip list, so I get to skip to the end of the match here. Bret goes for the sharpshooter as he notices the 1-2-3 kid out there. They try to double team him, but Bret able to turn it around and rolls up Tatanka for the win. So we'll see if they have Shawn have another match before WrestleMania next week. After this, we have another sketch for billionaire Ted. This time, Ted is in front of a board who are questioning him about his business practices and if he's trying to monopolize everything, with wrestling being his new target. As they continue to question Ted, he eventually folds and admits he's trying to own everything and also wants to put the World Wrestling Federation out of business. Again, I wonder if Vince would care about Ted Turner's business practices if he wasn't running WCW. Again, I don't understand why this is the thing that's ending the show on the road to WrestleMania. Why don't you just flip this with the Bret and Shawn training promos, and that would be better. Instead, Vince just making it all about himself and Ted's rivalry. I'm going to give this episode a bad grade. The ending is mainly why. Bret in a nothing match and the billionaire Ted sketch. If the show was good for 30 minutes, the last 15 minutes made it go from good to bad. So yeah, one more week before WrestleMania. Right now, the only thing I'm looking forward to at WrestleMania is Bret versus Shawn. Maybe Taker versus Diesel, but it's two big men, so we know in the WWF this will not be an entertaining match. It will be a typical slow-paced big man match they always give us. Warrior returning doesn't really feel like a big deal either, almost like it's not even happening. Goldust and Piper will have their brawl, but Goldust is such a new character that it feels like the crowd isn't really sure how to take to him yet, especially going after a legend like Piper. So who knows how that match is going to be received. And speaking of that rivalry, does Razor Ramon have a match? Is he already gone from the WWF? Because I know the curtain call doesn't happen until like May or June, so he's technically still with the company, isn't he? And the Smoking Guns, aren't they the tag team champions right now? Why aren't they being promoted for a match? I don't know. I think WrestleMania 12 is going to be a one-match card. But hey, if you're going to have a one-match card, they're giving us the best possible one-match card in history with Bret versus Shawn in the Iron Man match. So until the next review, I am out. Remember to like, subscribe, because if you don't, Goldust will come and harass you at your workplace.